All right, I think I'm live. Okay, here we go. It's Sunday night and 6 o'clock. We are here live. I'm in my little studio, sort of home, and so I went in. This is coming in a little bit differently than. So this is the way I came in last week, and so I just want to make sure that I'm on. Looks like I'm on, and um, awesome. Oh, hey there, Mandy. How are you? Thank you so much. That was very nice of him to send you over. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. So I'm doing a lot of health, wellness, talking also. Oh my gosh, you guys are so amazing. Oh my God, I love the love I'm getting from Howie. That's so great. Yeah, so I'll be talking about gardening. I would love your input. Not necessarily talking about gardening today, but I talk a lot about farmers markets, growing our own food. I'm going to be doing farm tours. If any of you are near me, I'm in Michigan, let me know. I'll make a trip and let's come and do it. I'll come and see what you guys have going, see what kind of things you're growing. Doesn't have to be big farms. I want to see backyard gardeners like myself growing our own food. I think it's so important that we really tap into growing our own food. I mean, I've got. I think I'm speaking to the choir on all this, right? Hey, Howie, thank you so much for bringing the tribe. That was so nice to look and see all this love popping into the chat. That's so amazing. So I'm going to take a little page out of Howie's playbook. If you're here, please go hit the thumbs up button so that I know you're here. So I did not know that little secret. And so I appreciate that. And how we rate, that's great. Yeah, I learned a bunch of stuff today. That was, you guys were talking about blueberries over on his channel. So Food and Forest Permaculture, he's Western Canada and growing a lot of really cool stuff, and especially in the cold season. So I'm going to be tuning in more so I can see what I need to be doing here and when I need to be planting. And there's Steve. Hi, Steve. You made it. Yes. Okay. Look at all that love in the chat. Wow. This is so cool. Okay. Lots of love coming in on a Sunday night. Again, hit that thumbs up button so I know you're here. I'm super excited because back in September, I only had 15 subscribers. So I have been diligent about putting up videos on health, wellness, food, food labeling system, chemicals in our food, our government entities that are putting chemicals in our food and allowing things in there that are actually, harming us. So that's really my passion, is to get people more aware of what you're eating. And then, of course, with this crowd coming in here, how to grow your own food. I had a conversation with a patient the other day, and that's really what tonight is about. I titled it, "Is Healthy Eating Difficult?" And so I had a conversation with a client the other night, and I was talking to her about her kids, and she said, well, you're dealing with a 6-year-old palate, her 6-year-old palate. She doesn't like a whole lot of food. She hates vegetables. She says she's choking down vegetables. She says, I put, I sprinkled Parmesan cheese on top. And I go, you're talking about the green shit in the can, right? It's not actually cheese. And she goes, well, yeah. So it's pretty funny. Hi, Sixth Sense Amelia. How are you? I can't wait to go back and follow all of you guys from here. Look at this. This is great, man. Love this. So she's using basically fake cheese. And I told her, she said her kids are the same way. And I said, I guarantee you get your kids gardening. Go get some tomato plants, those little grape tomatoes, green beans, food that is easy to grow, that's super fun for kids to actually, grow, watch it grow, and then just pull the green beans off of the vine and eat it. And she says, I don't like green beans. And I go, I don't care if you don't like green beans. Have your kids, grow them for your kids. Teach your kids. Doesn't matter. Personally, I don't like green beans but I love just about every other vegetable on the planet. I'll usually grow them because I do think they're fun to grow. They're easy, and they do taste really good right off the vine. But there's so many other really great veggies out there. Peas, the sugar snap peas. Oh my gosh, I could get fat on sugar snap peas. They're so good. Those are fun to grow too. They're nice and sweet, so probably a little better for kids' palate. But But it's things like that, when I talk about, is it really difficult to be healthy? Is it really that hard? We just have to like get past our own mind shit to say, yeah, and I made some notes here of things that, that I wanted to talk to you about with regards to that. So, gluten and grain problems digesting it, milk from the store. Yeah, I don't know where you are, Wild Edibles, but it's hard for us to get raw milk. Is it like illegal where you're at as well? You've got to be in the co-op. I've never been a milk fan. So it probably wouldn't behoove me to have it, but boy, I used to get it from my mom years ago, and she'd make fresh yogurt, and it was delicious. So so I don't know, I actually wouldn't mind trying it, starting to make some fresh yogurt out of it, because I would definitely eat more yogurt if I could make it from raw milk. And those are things too that we have to seek out. So we're talking, we've got this like vast range of people who have no idea what to do, literally like sprinkling cheese out of a can, to a lot of you people in the chat who are like growing your own food. And I want to try to bridge that gap for people, is get started, and then actually start to like do those little things. Go you can go to the Home Depot and buy a grape tomato, a patio tomato. Just put it outside. Like, you don't even have to have a green thumb. Just go out there and water it. And that's just a great way to start. New Zealand. Okay. Is it so Amelia, is it illegal there, or do you have to buy the cow there too, or buy a share of the cow? Yeah. Yeah. Make cheese. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? You guys are inspiring me, because I love some cheese, and I might have to dive into some raw milk world here, so that I can start making some cheese. That would be amazing. That would go right. I mean, I do so much home preserving. I make salsa at the end of the year. I go out and I go to the market. I get all my tomatoes, and everything goes right from the farmer's market into a jar that day. So I got basically fresh tomatoes. I've got like 4 cases of fresh tomato sauce, in my spare room. And you can't buy a tomato that tastes as good as what I just put in that jar back in September. And that's really, I know that's also outside the box for people. But there was a time when I didn't can either. I didn't know how to can. I didn't know what to do. Then I bought a dehydrator. Then I started dehydrating a whole bunch of stuff. And I said, if you come by my house and my house is this big, I've dehydrated the house. I mean, it's so fun to dehydrate stuff. I've taken beets, golden beets. Oh my God, they're so good. And again, I buy them by the 25-pound bag from the market. I come home, I roast them, and then I chop them up and season them up with little salt, garlic, little pepper, cinnamon, and maybe a little smoked paprika. Throw those in the dehydrator, and man, they make these they're like candy snacks. If you talk about like you have a sweet tooth and you want something sweet, that would be okay. That's super healthy to eat, and you're eating what you've made. There's so many things like that we can create for ourselves. I'll get bushels of about a bushel of eggplant, and then I bring it home and I'll applewood smoke it, and then I put it into little packets, and I make baba ganoush all winter long. So if you don't know what baba ganoush is, it's a Middle Eastern dish that is like so good. But the applewood smoke is key. Unpasteurized products aren't allowed to be purchased from stores. Yeah, however you can purchase. Yeah, that's how it is here. So we've got to purchase it from farmers here. We had a few years ago, we had an incident where we had a particular farm. They got raided, I guess, and they were forced to pour out all the raw milk. I mean, it's such a travesty. I don't understand it. It's the big dairy. I mean, they just do not want you drinking raw milk. I mean, that's what my parents grew up on. Come on. Parents bought a freeze dryer, though it's a hefty investment. The food, yeah, exactly. So, the freeze dryer. My neighbor has a freeze dryer, and I did some freeze dried zucchini from my garden. and it was good, but I actually preferred it dehydrated. But there's so many things that she's done in the dehydrator, the fruit. Oh my gosh. Or I mean, in the freeze dryer. Yeah. Big investment, but boy, yeah, your food's going to last longer. In Canada, I heard it has to be your own cow. You can't even give it away. Oh, wow. Amazing. Do I have a video on doing the beets? Boy, Wendy, do I have I might. I need to, and you know what? Okay, keep an eye out because I think I still have some in cold storage outside. And no, I do. I did a video. It's somewhere in my phone. I'm going to go back and get it. And if not, I've got some in cold storage. I'm going to make one this week. So that's a great idea. And I do have a video. I don't know if it's on my YouTube channel of making my salsa. And that was a labor of love to learn how to do that. I actually got certified here in the state of Michigan to sell my salsa, and I was making it in a certified kitchen. And then I ended up losing the kitchen. I couldn't get in there. So I still own the license to the product. I just can't sell it to the general public, but I can make it for myself. But man, I'm telling you, my salsa is like to freaking die for. I'll usually I'll give a jar away to somebody, and they'll tell me, they'll say, first of all, they hid it, and they hoarded it, and then they wanted to sit in the corner and eat it with a spoon. It was that good. Let's see. Aren't allowed to import, legal to give away raw milk in Nova Scotia. Okay. So you probably still have to buy a share in the cow. And then Amelia says, aren't allowed to import unpasteurized products either. Good reason for it here. New Zealand doesn't have bovine disease that can be spread by raw milk products. You have to be clean and get it cold before it spoils. Quality control can be better or worse depending on who's okay. Yeah, I think we have a couple of good sources for raw milk around here. But yeah, you've got to you have to use it quickly, don't you? From my understanding. So, but I guess if I got it, I would just plan to make make yogurt, make cheese out of the cream or the milk or both. What do you make the cheese out of? We have a calf to feed it to if it's, oh, that's cool. Okay. How do you know if it's dirty? What makes you know that it's dirty? This is cool. What a great conversation. Yeah. So, I mean, now I'm going to tell you probably, all of you guys, just go out on a limb and say, nobody started off doing this. None of us did. We learned over the years, right? So we stepped into wanting something better for ourselves, and eventually, you evolve to this point. Again, 10, 11 years ago, I didn't know what, food preservation was. I'd throw stuff in my freezer. That's about all I knew. But now, I'll freeze, I'll dehydrate, I'll can, and then, be very strategic about making sure that I still always have fresh vegetables, fresh food on hand, fresh, I'll call it processed food, because that's also, I want to talk about that term. So, there's this term called ultra processed food. Use the cream for butter or whipped cream. Dang, I'm getting hungry. That sounds so good. I'm going to go find me a cow. So you've heard this term, ultra processed foods, and then there's processed food. So like my salsa would be considered processed food because I took a whole food, tomatoes, onions, garlic, and I processed them and I put them into a jar. So that's considered processed food, not bad, right? But then there's ultra processed food, and ultra processed food is like, think Pringles, okay? Like, is a potato really shaped like that? And Pringles are, they end up being like, I think they're like, end up being like a liquid potato that then gets put in this form thing. I mean, it's disgusting. So that would be ultra processed food. Foods or food-like substances that have been put into a box that have chemical additives put in them. Those are ultra processed foods. 60% of Americans are consuming, 60% of the calories that Americans consume are coming from ultra processed foods. And this is where, we've got obesity rates are higher than ever, diabetes, cancer, and we're shortening lifespans at this point. And so, True Wild. let's see. The udders are too dirty. Poop gets. Oh, got it. Yeah, yeah. Strain the milk just in case there's dirt. Perfect. Yeah. So, so we've got to, we have to take matters into our own hands, because if we don't, take action, like there's nothing, nobody can care more than you do about your health, right? So all you guys care so much about your health that you're willing to go out and grow your own food. So even for people who maybe don't know, I mean, that's a big leap, but at some point you've got to make this, you've got to make the step. I mean, I had another client I was working with, and she's like, she's in pain, she's got digestive issues, and you try to plant the seeds when you're working with people. And she insisted I give her exercises, so I did. I gave her exercises. She kept coming in complaining about the pain, and I said, "Are you doing the exercises I'm giving you? And are you drinking more water?" This is first and foremost right here: water, and then sleep. But so I said, "Are you doing the exercise?" No. 3 times late, over a few weeks. No, she wasn't doing I go, "Well, why'd you ask me? Why did you ask me for the exercises? I gave them to you and you're not doing them. So, you're coming in here, I'm seeing you 5 minutes, 3 times a week, and then you go home and you still go into the same, physical, chemical, emotional stress states." So, anyway, so then I told her, I said, "Why don't you just go to yoga once a week?" And she goes, "I don't have time for that." And I go, "Listen, there's so much you can stream on YouTube." And I said, "Why don't you, stream a yoga class?" And she goes, "Well, she still didn't have time for that." And I said, 30 minutes once a week. I won't be able to do that till I retire, which she's like in her late 50s. So, at what point? At what point? And then what's retirement going to look like? So, when I retire, if I retire, I'm a chiropractor, a nutritionist. I love what I do. I don't know that retirement's in my future, but I would love to have some property and be able to grow my own food, grow a lot more food than I am right now. I was over on Howie's channel, Food Forest Permaculture, and, looking at blueberries. I'm going to go visit a blueberry farm this summer. And I'm going to do a video for you guys, and I'll be posting that. This guy's the biggest producer of blueberries in the state of Michigan. And he does a lot of grafting and cloning. And I think he might ship his stock all over the world or the US. I'm not sure what the regulations are on that, but he's a pretty big deal. So I want to get some rootstock from him and plant, hopefully, like, good, strong blueberry plants. I'd love to, always wanted to grow blueberries, just never had luck with it. So I'm trying again. So the other thing I want to grow is mushrooms. Tried that a few years ago, had a little bit of luck, and then no luck on the other side. So what do you want to grow? Start something simple. Now's the time. Like, if you want to grow seeds inside, that's another great way to get your kids involved. You got to get your kids involved. That's the biggest thing. Get your kids doing this, because then they take ownership of it, and now you're starting to build your own legacy. So plant seeds now inside. It's early February. Get those going now, so the seedlings, kids are they're gonna look at them every day to see, are they growing yet? Do it, how big are they? And they're gonna get excited, and then they're gonna put them in the ground, and then they're gonna go out and water them every day, and then then when it's time to harvest, they're gonna be super happy that they've got food that they grew. So it's the ownership that we need to provide our kids and our family. Get them to buy into being healthy. I mean, that's really the bottom line. There's so much in our food system, so many chemicals. And of course, if you go onto my page and look at some of my other content, I've done a lot of videos on food ingredients, things that the government is sneaking into, or I shouldn't say sneaking, allowing into our food system that, these generally recognized as safe ingredients, basically telling the food manufacturers that they can police themselves. So, they'll say, the food manufacturer will tell the FDA, "Oh, our product is all the chemicals we put in here, they're safe because they're on this generally recognized as safe list." And then the FDA goes, "Oh, you said it's safe? Got it. Here's your stamp of approval." Boom. And that's how it works, you guys. So, when you're talking about eating out of a box, people are like, "I'm so confused about ingredients. I don't know how to read the label." last week we talked about label reading on the live, and the problem with that is if you're confused about reading labels, you need to like go put the box down and go into the fresh fruits and vegetables section. Go buy the good stuff. And as much as I want to tell everybody go eat organic, just eat all organic, I just gotta get you guys eat vegetables. I just gotta get people inspired just to put more fruits and vegetables in their daily routine and stop sprinkling, green, that green shit in a can on their food. I don't even know what that is. It's called, is it like Parmesan with a Z? I don't even know. I should look at it. I was just in the grocery store yesterday doing a video on ginger and fresh ginger, how to have fresh ginger. I'll be rolling that out. I think I should be able to get that edited and out tomorrow in the next couple of days. But the ginger usually the ginger root ends up in the bottom of your vegetable bin and then moldy and shriveled up. And you're like, and every time you need ginger, you have to go back out and buy more. So I did a video on how to always have fresh ginger, and it does not come in a jar minced with a bunch of, calcium chloride in there and preservatives. So, so this is, we want use fresh ingredients when we're cooking and how to have that. Wild edibles. I'm challenging myself this month to only spend $100 on groceries. That's a great challenge. So do you have food preserved, and what kinds of, so this is that's a great statement. I love that. And so a couple of things come to mind. A lot of people will say, is it really, it's too expensive to eat healthy. So you're going to take that $100 and what are you going to spend it on? What have you rationed that $100 to be spent on? And then what do you have? Because my guess is, like, if I could probably not go to the grocery store other than to buy vegetables here, in the winter. I've got freezer full. I got a pig, I got a cow, I got fish. I have all kinds of stuff in my freezer. So I'm good on protein sources. Lots of food from animals I'm raising and some saved from the summer too. Yeah. So that's the thing. It's that preparation. And, we've got a lot of great local farmers that you can get, you can get all, chicken, pork, beef, and turkey. I've got, great sources here locally in the Southwest Detroit area for eggs, duck eggs, honey, trying to keep all of that as local as possible. And then everybody needs a freezer. I've had a freezer for 20, huge chest freezer for everybody laughs when I say I've had a huge chest. So can I say that on YouTube? See if you guys are paying attention to that one. So I've had a huge chest freezer for, 25 years, maybe. And then I needed to get a new one that one died. And I got a new one in like 2019, thankfully. And I had to get a new refrigerator too in 2019. And then 2020 came, and y'all know shit went south there. And you couldn't find a freezer, you couldn't find a refrigerator, and people were finally going and buying, cows and pigs and, all the local food that they could get. And I'm like, I was kind of doing that before there was a crisis to do that. So, that's how we should be. That's, we shouldn't necessarily plan for the apocalypse. I mean, some people might disagree with me. I don't want to go, too far into the whole, the sky is falling, but I love, having good local food on hand. I mean, that's what it's about. And if I grew it, or if I went to a farmer's market and, got it fresh and was able to preserve it myself. I mean, I've had so many people reach out to me and say, hey, if I pay you, can you make salsa for me next year? And I'm like, you can come to my house. You can, chip in on the ingredients, come to my house, and you can help me. And then you take home, right? So I think maybe I'll do a party. Wouldn't that be cool? We do a salsa party and everybody comes, they chip in a certain amount of money and they'll leave with, a case or two of salsa. That's a great idea. I'm glad I came up with that. Let's see. Canned veggies, carrots, whole grains. Can't remember what you bought. Okay. So So yeah, if you're raising, what kind of animals are you raising? Wild edibles. And then Amelia says, for some people, total immersion isn't viable for sure. Growing some things, if not everything's going to be healthier and save money. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I was saying. Like if they could start with a couple of like patio pots of vegetables just to, start, because again, it's exciting, right? I mean, I think we've all planted things in our garden and then it hasn't come to fruition. I mean, this year I had a great tomato crop, a great zucchini. I mean, my zucchini was so good this year. It was like one day I'd look and there'd be a tiny zucchini, and then look 2 days later, it's 2 feet long. So I had a lot that I just like tossed out for compost. But my cucumbers, usually I get great cucumbers, didn't grow at all. But it's still always worth it. Some things are going to grow and some aren't. So nice to see. Canning party yeah, wouldn't that be cool? I know I canned this year. This was the first year I did it all by myself. And I did, what did I do? I did 3 bushels, I think, all by myself. And I think that was 65 pint jars of I say salsa, but it's my tomato sauce minus cilantro and jalapeno peppers. I want to organize a video on it, so I took a clip of what I bought Whole Foods to make more foods. Cool. Yeah, salsa party. I think that's a good idea. Thanks, Howie. Yes. You know what? I don't save my seeds. I need to start saving seeds. Partly, I don't really have a lot of space to start my seedlings. And I've attempted using seeds to plant over the years. I do really well with I can do well with herbs, but boy, tomatoes, I've never had luck doing seeds. I always have to go buy the seedlings. I moved my animals to a farm and I'm helping there with a little bit of everything. That's great. Awesome. Yeah. That's great. Awesome. Yeah. So I think, I try to do a little bit of a combination and then rotate on, do a little bit of, plant some cilantro and some basil, and then, every couple weeks add more in. One of the things, and hey, if any of you on the chat know, I have been looking for so I love watercress. And years ago, we found a type of cress. It was a field cress. So watercress obviously needs a lot of water. It grows by streams. And this field cress can grow in more dry conditions. Didn't need to be near water, and it grew beautifully. But I have not been able to find it anywhere. So if anybody knows where I can get some good field cress, that's what I'm looking for. So where it can grow in a variety of soils. It doesn't have to be, you can't regular watercress. I have some that I grow, but I got to really baby it. I don't get a ton off of it. So, grow in excess of some things, trade for other things. Yeah. I think we might eventually be getting into like a trade market, It would be great to have, or wouldn't it be great, I should say, upland cress. Yes, that's what I need, Idaho Garden Girl. Where do I get those? I got to go follow you. I'm afraid to click on it right now because I might lose my stream. Upland cress. I'm going to write that down. We're pine tree garden seeds. Nice. Love it. Okay. Cool. All right, awesome. Start tomato seeds indoors. Start with bottom heat, not lights above. Oh, that's a good idea. Okay. Then when they're a couple inches tall. Okay, awesome. Yeah. I feel like I heard Joel Salatin. If any of you are familiar with Joel Salatin, I'm actually going down to his farm in June. To he's got over 5,000 acres. He farms all organically. Speaks all over the world on regenerative agriculture. So I'm super excited to go be a part of his farm, see what he's got going on. And he talks about that, creating these local communities where we're all growing things and then we trade. And wouldn't that be cool, right? If we had communities where, not necessarily a community garden, but, we all have our homes and, grow whatever you grow in your backyard. And and then you trade it with your, with everybody else in your neighborhood, your community. I think that would be, that could be pretty cool. And that would also keep the cost of groceries down, right? So, and I'm going to guess those Christmas tree bulbs, those are old school, not LED, old school bulbs. I think I threw all my old school bulbs. M.I. Gardner has upland cress seeds. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. You know what? Yeah, he's on YouTube. I forgot about him. I remember seeing a video he put out. Baker Creek. I checked Baker Creek last year and I couldn't find anything, but I'll go back there. Old non-LED, yeah. I'm sure everybody's got some old non-LED Christmas lights, don't they? Baker Creek is addictive. Yeah, M.A. Gardner, he's got a great site. I remember him doing a video, and he said every time he goes out and does a video, his neighbor, old man, would come out on his riding mower and disrupt his videos. So he's like every single time. And you can see there's a bunch of videos that he's done. You can see he's like, there he is again. It's really funny. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so the goal is to get you, just from a couple of things, right? So being healthy, it is easy, and what I want to impress upon people is you have got to want something better for yourself. You've got to, I can't care more than you do. You've got to care. And, when I tell people, I'm like, start with water. They go, I don't like water. Okay. Again, like as every time there's a certain population of people and you're trying to inspire and educate, and everything you say gets met with a volley back. Right. And you're like, well, God dang it. Like, what do you want me to do? Right. You won't drink water. You're eating all kinds of processed foods. You won't eat a vegetable. You have got to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what's it going to take? I made a note here. I was like, oh yeah, how did you get here? Right. So how did you get here? And then another conversation I had with a client was kind of funny, but and it kind of made fun of her, but and I can tell her I did this video too, but I won't mention her name clearly. But she's got digestive issues. She's borderline autoimmune stuff, and I know you can't help people who don't want to help themselves. And that's the thing. It's like that we're so entrenched in these things that we've held on to for so many years. And so she's telling me, she lost like 7 pounds. Her and her husband, they've been exercising every day. He can eat candy bars still, and he's still dropping weight. And I go, yeah, hormones suck, man. As women, like it's so much harder for her and for us as women. And you cannot pay attention to what your husband is doing because he's probably not healthy on the inside if he's eating candy bars. So then she says, she said she lost 7 pounds. She goes, and then I gained 2 back. And I don't even understand it because she said I had chicken Alfredo for dinner on Monday, and then I had it for lunch on Tuesday, and that's all I did. And I gained 2 pounds back. And I was like, for real, like chicken Parmesan. So this is the thing. You've got to ask yourself every time you go shopping and every time you sit down to a meal, is this food killing me or is it going to heal me? Because food is medicine or it is poison. And so what are you putting on your plate? And you've got to be able to, again, look in the mirror and say, okay, chicken Alfredo. And I looked at her, I said, how old are you? And she told me, and I said, okay, you've had that many years to have chicken Alfredo. It's time to change the habits. It's time to change what got you here to begin with. You can no longer have chicken Alfredo and sprinkle cheese from a can. Like we can't do that anymore. You're not going to get a different result doing the same thing you've always done. That's my rant there. So can't help people who don't help themselves. If the body is ill, you need to change. It is hard to change, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, even if I say, just drink more water, let's just start there, right? You can't say to me, I don't like water. Also same client, her doctor told her it was perfectly safe to have a half of a Monster drink when she was pregnant every day. That's what our medical system's doing right there. So let's poison the kids, poison the baby. Most productive people don't like change. Yeah. I know. I love chicken Alfredo too. I'm not saying that it's not great, but you got to be living 90% of your life on this side of health and wellness before you go indulge in chicken Alfredo. The problem is most people are living, 10% of their lives eating something healthy and doing chicken Alfredo on the daily. So, it's looking at that. How do we make that shift towards more habits that are good and serve us versus more habits that are bad and make us sick? Yes, you don't buy those things, right? If you put it in your house, and then if you put it in your house, your kids are eating it, right? Did a mortuary course. Oh my gosh, mortuary. That sounds interesting. The mortician told me that the bodies are taking longer to decompose because of the amount of preservatives consumed. That is gross. That's amazing. Do we think that's true? I wonder if that was an observation. I'm gonna have to look that up. It's really interesting. I mean, think about it. These toxins, they get stored in our fat tissue. They get stored in our bodies. We can't get rid of them. They get stored up in the brain tissue. The body, we're so adulterated with toxins on a daily basis, and our livers can't keep up. So it stores it in brain and fat and breast tissue. And this is why we've got diabetes on the rise and obesity. Obesity, oftentimes, now they're calling obesity a genetic issue when it didn't exist, several years ago, but now it's genetic. You may have a propensity to that, but also if your parents and your grandparents, if they were all, overweight and they ate, atrociously and they taught you the same things, yeah, then I suppose that's genetic. That's environmentally turning those genes on. So let's shift that, do something different. Yeah, I can't digest it better. Don't buy the stuff, make it. Yeah, you make it, right? Hey, thanks so much for being here, Wild Edibles. Appreciate the insight and the input. If a person doesn't buy all the stuff, it makes it more difficult to consume it. If you really want it, you can make it from scratch, but most people don't want to. Yeah, you're right. I do. If I want something cheesy and indulgent, I use good, pure cheese, high fat cheese. I'm not necessarily afraid of the fat. I prefer having the fat versus the proteins in the cheese, but I try to, buy high quality cheeses, and then I'll make a good cheese sauce, and I'll indulge, and then I'm good, but I probably haven't done that in over a year. But when I want it, that's how I'm going to do it. It was over 25 years ago. Yeah. I thought I'm gonna look that up. That could be a good video as far as, our body's not decomposing as well. So interesting. So yeah. So where do we start? You have to start. I need you to start by looking in the mirror. You've got to start by looking in the mirror and ask yourself, what do you want more for yourself? What can you do better for yourself? And that you have to know you are not going to get to the next place in your life and your health if you're having the same habits. Something has to change. So the simplest thing, get up in the morning. So before I leave the house in the morning, I've had 2 to 3 of these that I've sucked down. I think this is like a 16-ounce glass. I suck down water all day long. But the first thing you do, get up in the morning and hydrate, because we're just so dehydrated and our bodies and our cells can't function properly without proper hydration. So start with water. We're going to talk about sleep and breath and exercise, but listen, we got to start with our water. We have to start with our food choices, and ask yourself when you sit down to a meal or when you're in the grocery store shopping, is this food or food-like substance going to harm me or heal me? Those are your 2 questions, and you have to be real with yourself. And if you're like, well, it's going to harm me, but it's only a little bit, poison's in the dose, baby. Poison's in the dose. The more you have it, the more likely, it's going to build up. It's not going to leave your body, and you're going to be one of those dead bodies who doesn't need formaldehyde because you've spent too many years putting processed foods in your body to preserve yourself. So, hey guys, we are just about the 40-minute mark. This has been amazing. I appreciate all the love in the chat. This is really, really cool. I'm doing this every Sunday night at 6 o'clock, live Q&A, just jumping in here. I usually throw a topic out. but then, I love going rogue and going with, what you guys want to talk about in the chat. That's really what it's about. I want to be available to you to answer your questions on health, wellness, gardening, food processing, whatever we need to do to live a good, strong, healthy life and live a long health span within that lifespan. So, all right. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure if you haven't subscribed, please go over and subscribe and share this channel with some people that that could use a lot of this information, or invite them next week to the live, and let's all have fun together, building a life of health and wellness. All right. Thanks so much, Sixth Sense of Meal. I'm going to come back and I'm going to go subscribe to everybody's page on there. So appreciate all you guys being here. That was super awesome to see that chat light up with everybody from Howie. So I got to go back and give him some love. All right. Thanks you guys so much for being here. All right. See you soon. Bye.